What's up, guys? This is Kephis. I am legally blind, and this is a typical day in Azeroth. I'm currently playing my paladin, and what I want to do is sort of go over what it's like for me playing World of Warcraft as someone who is visually impaired. I am visually impaired, which means that I have vision that is 20/200. I am completely blind in my left eye. I have absolutely no peripheral vision. I am nearsighted. I sit about 6 inches in front of the screen, and I'm playing on a 32-inch television screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at my interface and just certain things that I do to achieve success in this game and just to enjoy it. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that my UI probably to you looks like a mess, right? I mean, this is not a UI that most people would look at and want to use, and it's understandable. It's cluttery, it's everywhere, but for me and for my needs, it works. It suits my needs. The first thing that you will notice about it is that all the font is much larger, and that is a combination of mods. The main mod is Fontifier. It increases the font size of things like my quest log, my character sheet, and the tooltips, as you just saw. That's something else. All the tooltips are hovering over my mouse, which is important because it helps me, number one, read the tooltips, because if the tooltips are in the corner, I have to look away from the middle of the screen to see them. And it also, whenever I'm hovering over something, it helps me find my mouse sometimes, because I tend to lose my mouse very easily. So that's a useful mod. The big thing is this little HUD in the middle of my screen. I want to show you what, through the video editing, what I see when I'm looking at my character and when I'm in the middle of battle. This is about all I can see when I'm looking straight ahead. So as you can see, I can't see my minimap, I can't see my user frames, I can't see my action bars, I can't see chat, I can't see my DPS meter, and I can't see most of the screen. I can basically see just this little area around my character. So having this mod, which is called IceHUD, by the way, helps, as you can tell, because it has my health on the left side and my mana on the right side. Now if I target this person here, you can see that now their health is outside of mine and their mana is outside of mine. So whenever I'm in battle fighting things, whatever my target is, their health is also shown. So that makes it easy for me to keep track of what's going on. So that's basically that. Everything else is just, you know, basic stuff. I mean, I've got a bag mod called Arkinventory, which makes me make the bag much larger, which almost completely covers up my screen, which isn't wonderful, but hey, it works and I can see everything. It also automatically organizes things for me. I set that up and I've got everything going into different sections, and it kind of combines all the bags into one window, so it's very handy. I also have a mod called Titan Panel, which kind of helps me keep track of things like you know, my durability, how much money I have across all my characters, and where I am, which I tend to not pay attention to that much. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. My minimap, as you can see, is massive, right? For obvious reasons. I can't see a tiny minimap, and even though it's this big, I still have to look up at it, right? So even though it's much larger, I still have to turn my head and kind of, I'm getting further away from my mic. It's just to give you an idea of how far away I have to get from the center of my screen to look up at my minimap. And as you can tell, I mean, it's kind of cluttery because everything is larger. All the blips, including my character arrow, this is where the mailbox is, the quest icons, they're all much larger. And that also includes nodes, like whenever I'm farming for herbs and minerals, it's much larger so that I can see things better. But I also still have to turn my head and look away, which is a pretty big pain, but it works. Now, in terms of how I play with an Xbox 360 controller. So that sounds crazy, but it works. It's really simple. I mean, the left stick controls my character's movement. I have him strafing left and right and then moving forward and backwards with the left stick. The right stick controls the mouse. And then the bumpers, left bumper and right bumper, are left click and right click. So when I move, it's just a matter of holding down right click, and now I can move the camera and turn my character, and I can move forward with the left stick, and that's usually how I move. I can also just hold down left bumper and right bumper, and that moves me forward, and I can just turn like that. So it, you know, controlling is actually pretty wonderful, and that's part of the big reason why I play this way. I also can jump by holding or pressing down the right stick button, so it's right there. And then the left stick button, I don't have anything to target, but it's tab. So the left stick, pressing that will will help me tab target, which is incredibly important whenever I'm in combat. Which, tab targeting isn't always graceful by any means, but it does the trick. Now, in terms of everything else, with the left trigger and right trigger, every other button pretty much does something else. So that makes it so that I have access to a lot of buttons. So with a certain button combination, I can mount up. I can open up quest log. I can open up the bag. I can open up the menu, the map, skill trees, character sheet, social panel, this thing, spellbook. So that's just all with the controller, as I just did. Now, when it comes to the buttons, it's really easy. You have basically 8 more buttons. You have the A, B, X, Y buttons, and then you have the D-pad, right? So basically, A, B, X, and Y goes from 1 to 12, or 1 to 0, the 1 through 12 on your keyboard. And how it works is, when I don't hold down left or right trigger, it does 1, 2, 3, and 4. When I hold down left trigger, it does 5, 6, 7, 8. That's with the A, B, X, Y face buttons. And then when I hold down the right trigger, it does 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's the first row down here of abilities, okay? Now, the second row is controlled by the D-pad. So when I hold, D-pad down, D-pad left, D-pad up, D-pad right, it does the first 4. And then I hold down left trigger plus the D-pad, and then right trigger with the D-pad. So that's 12 more buttons, so you've got 24 buttons. On top of that, the top row is controlled partially with button control, because when I hold down left and right trigger, I have access to even more buttons. So these first 4 buttons here on this very top row are controlled with the A, B, X, Y buttons when both the left and right trigger are held down. I also have a mod called Opie, which is this. Whenever I press a button, it opens up a radial menu, so I have access to like my professions, as you can see. I have access to just random abilities, which I never really use that often, and then I have access to, if I had quest items, I could do that. So that's really handy, and that's done again with the D-pad holding down both triggers. So as you can see, I have access to a lot of buttons with the controller, and a lot of people ask, why do I play this way? Well, it does sound weird to play a game like Warcraft with a controller over a keyboard and mouse, but the reason why is when I play with the keyboard and mouse, the mouse control is nice. I mean, I have a better control over the mouse, and all that is fine. But when I'm playing with the keyboard, the problem for me is, even though I have F as a home key, right, everything else feels the same. So I get lost easy when I'm moving around trying to hit all these buttons, and then I'm lost and I'm looking down trying to find out what's going on, and my play style is ruined and I'm not playing as efficiently. When I play with the controller, I never have to look. I never have to look down. I'm always aware of where I am, because everything feels different, right? Everything is distinct. So that's why I play with the controller. Now, what I would like to do, and since I've given you a pretty solid kind of tour of what my user interface is like, I'd first like to demonstrate my DPS. So we're going to fly over to the target dummy, and I don't know if this is good or not. I'll let you tell me. I'm not going to say that my DPS is outstanding. Let's see, my item level is 523. It's mostly timeless Isle gear, probably a couple LFRs. I'm not raiding. I'm not like a high-end raider. I really haven't played that much. I'm just kind of having fun lately with the game. So I'm kind of a very casual player right now, just picking up little bits of gear here and there, whatever. And I play this way. And the way I play, also, before we get started, I use a macro system. So I basically use one button, right? So that I have quick access to other abilities, like my interrupts and, different abilities like that. I don't want to have to press a bunch of different buttons. I try to do this with as many classes as I can, and I just kind of play the class that it's easy to accomplish with. Basically, the way I play is I use a macro system. I use a mod called Macro Toolkit, which will allow me to assign more characters in a macro. So as opposed to like 255 or whatever, I can put 124 characters in a macro. So it's like Uber Twitter, right? So basically, as you can see here, let's look at a single target. I have all of my Pally DPS abilities in this macro, and it will cast them all by rapidly pressing the button, and it'll cycle through the abilities somewhat efficiently. It's a workaround. It's not hacking. It's not breaking the game. It's using a mod that exists, and it's using the macro system in the game that works. So this is how it works. So I use what's known as lazy macros. You can check those out at wowlazymacros.com. And basically, I press one button and it does most of my abilities. And a lot of people might say that doesn't sound very fun. Fun is subjective. It's my opinion. It's your opinion. Obviously, I'm having fun, or I wouldn't be playing, more or less. So I don't think it's fun pressing 1,000 buttons and having to look down at my action bar. So this is how I play. I use one button, and it just kind of cycles through my abilities by just kind of spamming that one button. So what we're going to do is, with the exception of Inquisition, because you have to cast Inquisition at a specific time, you want to put that buff up when it's necessary. So we're going to run through the rotation. As you can see now, I'm targeting. It's going to show my spells, like what recommends I cast here. So that helps me keep track of making sure the macro's working, or if I have to press something extra, it'll let me know. And you're also going to see what happens when I start fighting. So we're going to just check this out, see what my DPS is like, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to walk up behind here and just stand here and press this button. I want to cast Inquisition now, and as you can see, I'm using weak auras, so this little bar down here below my character's feet is showing Inquisition, and when that runs out, I'll know it's time to cast Inquisition again. It's also keeping track of my holy power right above my head, so it's kind of keeping track of all the abilities that I need to press, and it's keeping track of holy power. Now, as you can see, it's going through all these abilities. It's casting Exorcism, it's casting Hammer of Wrath, it's casting, Judgment, all that stuff, and also all my cooldowns. So I was doing around, I wasn't even paying attention, I wasn't looking, so it was 180, 190,000 DPS, roughly, maybe a little bit more. I don't have any buffs, I don't have any raid buffs, I don't have any food buffs, I don't have any elixirs, all I have are my pally buffs, and that's about it. So DPS is kind of dropping now, as it would, but that's basically what my DPS is like, more or less, and it's usually around that during a raid. And I know it's a target dummy, and you can't really measure DPS. It's like, you're not moving around, dude, so it's understandable that people might be skeptical, but honestly, it does work for me, and there are plenty of times when I am in a raid and I'm doing pretty good DPS. I'm keeping up with everybody. So I don't know if it's good or not, but in my experience, unless I'm raiding with everybody I raid with is terrible at this game, I keep up with everybody from what I can tell at my item level. So that's basically that. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to fly down to Onyxia's lair, and I'll keep talking to you, and we're going to do that raid, just so that you can see, what I can do. It's Onyxia. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to really demonstrate a good raid, but you'll get an idea of what it's like playing with controller for me. And also, while we're doing that, I want to talk about a couple more mods, and you'll see, as you can hear, the music just changed. And if you recognize this music, it is the Outset Island theme from Wind Waker. I use a mod called Soundtrack, as I can use my Minimap buttons mod to access the menu here. This is a mod called Soundtrack. What it allows me to do is it allows me to add music to all the zones in the game, right? So all the zones, all the sub-zones, all the towns, everywhere there is, I can change the music. And I can also change the music for battle. So when I'm in battle, like with bosses and with elite mobs and with rares and PvP, it'll play a different song. And I like that because that helps me keep track of actually when I'm in combat, which I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes you know how it is. You kind of get like attacked out of nowhere, and then, when the music changes, I know I pulled something, or I know that it's time to fight. It helps me keep track of that. I also just like the mod because, it allows me to kind of keep the game fresh, because I've been playing this game for, 7, 8 years now, and, when you hear the same music over and over again for years like that, just changing the music around every now and then to some music that you remember from other games, or whatever music you want. Like, I remember when back in Wrath, I used to play King Nothing by Metallica whenever we fought the Lich King, and that was like my anthem for that fight. And it always got me pumped up, and that was just fun to do, So a mod like that is a lot of fun. It's actually my favorite mod. It's called Soundtrack. You can get it on Curse. Pretty much all my mods you can get on Curse. Now, what you just heard was another mod that's key. It's called GTFO, and what happened was I went into Fatigue Zone, and GTFO went off because it's letting me know that I am in an area that is is volatile for me, so it actually will harm me. So that works for whenever I'm in a raid, right? So if I'm raiding and there's poop on the ground and I'm standing in it, GTFO will start sounding off, and I'll know that I need to move, which is extremely useful. So now here we are, we're in Dustwallow Marsh, and it's playing the theme to Legend of Zelda. It's I think it's the Dooku Tree. I just think it's fun to, go to different zones and have it play different music. There are some zones that I've had the same music for years, and it invokes like this incredible nostalgia. Like whenever I go to Vashir, it plays the ocean theme to Wind Waker. A lot of my music is Zelda because I'm a freaking humongous Zelda nut. But it played the ocean theme to Wind Waker when I was in Outset Island, and it was like my Outset, or my, I say Outset Island, I meant Vashir. My Vashir experience was like 10 times better than everybody else because the whole time I was there, I was listening to the ocean theme from Wind Waker, and I love that music. So I'm kind of a nerd, and people were like hate Vashir, but I actually love it just because of that. So I think that's a big part of the reason why. So we're almost there, but if you've been paying attention to the minimap, you'll see how big blips are for mining, for gathering stuff. Also for pet battles, you can see how big things are. So we're almost here. Heading in to the mall here, Nixia's lair, and we're going to take down the dragon. It shouldn't be no problem. I'm a pally. Pallies are destined to take down the dragon. Actually, I think Varian was destined to take down the dragon, or I'm not sure who killed Nixia, but who cares. So basically, we're going to hop in. You know how this goes, right? It's actually been a while since I've been here, so I just jump down, head on down, and we're going to take out the dragon. And you'll hear the music change. It's pretty fun. But basically, I'm doing this to show you if I'm going the right way, which I think I'm not, actually. So, hey, perfect example of what it's like playing this game when you're legally blind. You get lost constantly, right? And the minimap is not helpful here because Blizzard does not know how to use minimaps with tunnels. But, hey, it's alright. No one's perfect. But I do get lost, like, almost constantly, which is fine, whatever. So, we're going to head in here, and we're going to take down the evil Nixia and her pets. Now I also have a button which does the same thing as a single target, but it does it for AoE. So we're going to like pull all these dragons here, and basically I'll cast the same abilities, but I'll also cast Divine Storm and Hammer of Wrath, or Hammer of the Righteous, or whatever. I'm not going to bother buffing or anything right now, so I'm getting some pretty decent, like triple digit or 6-figure crits, as I like to call them, which is fine. So hey, it's all good. So yeah, I have two buttons that kind of are spam macros, and it makes it easy to switch from single target to AoE. So we're going to take down Nixie. I know I just used my cooldowns, which kind of sucks, but who cares? I don't really pay attention to like holding off my cooldowns because I just use them whenever they're up, and I don't really care. So we're going to take her down. It's going to be a piece of cake, and you'll see what it's like. It's not hard at all. Nixie is, as you heard, the music just kind of, not the music, but the GTFO went off and lets me know that I'm standing in poop, which doesn't really matter at this level. But, hey, it's all good. I also have, quick abilities ready for healing, so now we're already sending her up in the air, which is great because, it's cool. It's cool because this macro also will hit execution sentence when it's off, which is really nice because that's like a 30-second cooldown ability, and it kind of sucks to... Oh, I gotta switch here, take these punks down, and, if I get low on health, we'll just use Lay on Hands, right? That's the ability. But, hey, they're all pretty much dead, so that was a piece of cake. Oh, there's still a few up. Die. Annoying whelps. Kill the whelps. Kill them all, right? Alright, there we go. Now, switch to Nixia. It's cool because somehow this macro knows, like, to cast, like, the ranged abilities, right, when they're up. So, Exorcism and Judgment and Hammer of Wrath, it'll cast those. It knows. So, it's pretty cool like that. As you can see now, it's doing it. So, Nixia's flying around. We're going to throw up a little bit of a heal just to keep myself, relatively topped off. Now, we're going to cook. We're going to cook her. Oh, hello. I'm going to kill him first. Because he needs to die. Oh, is she dropping? Yep, see? So Nixie is down. That was easy. And we're just going to pretty much own her face. She'll probably fear me because I can't stop her from fearing me. So it's alright. 2, 1, and she's still dying. And hey, look at this. She's almost dead. She's almost dead. She's dead. There you go. That's Anixia. she's dead, and that was basically how I play Warcraft. We're gonna check out the loot. Ooh, we got all kinds of good stuff. Judgment Hood, we got Nemesis. Oh my gosh, pretty good stuff. So, you know what? I'm happy right now because of the crap I just got. That stuff we don't need, but hey, look at that. That is exciting, actually. I've been trying to get this for like ever, and I'll probably switch to it. That is so. Hey, welcome to Blind Guy Plays World of Warcraft. I just got Nemesis. Yay me, and I also got the Judgment Hood. Yay me, which I already had, but you know, it's all good. So, thanks for watching. This has been Blind Guy Plays World of Warcraft. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this. Until next time.